Porter joins us now live from Windsor, where the Queen will be buried alongside the Duke of Edinburgh, and that is going to happen in a chapel called St George's. Tell us more.
Started arriving in Windsor to get a good spot later. I've seen people laden with chairs because, of course, while the main state funeral will be taking place at Westminster Abbey, as Cameron was just saying there will be a hearse bringing the Queen's coffin here to Windsor, and it is an enormous security operation because we're expecting crowds of around 150,000 people here in Windsor. Thames Valley Police say it is their largest ever police operation because the hearse will come at the beginning of the long walk, which is that long avenue which takes it all the way to Windsor Castle, and people will be able to watch along there as the military will process along. And I saw footage of them in the very early hours of Saturday morning practicing how they're going to be doing this. And I think it's important to stress this has been many years well rehearsed. There have been so many people involved with this, and I think we can anticipate a really flawless performance really from everybody involved, because of course the stakes are so high. I mean, we haven't had a state funeral since Winston Churchill, as Cameron was just saying there. Absolutely extraordinary. So we are expecting the coffin to be moved here for about 3 o'clock, and then there will be this long walk up the avenue where we've seen so many people bringing beautiful flowers, pay tribute to the late Queen. And then, as Isabella was just saying there, we will then have a slightly smaller committal service which will take place at St George's Chapel with about 800 people, and that will be televised. But then later on in the evening there will be a private burial, and now that will be taking place at the King George VI Memorial Chapel. And I think there, in those three services, we show very much the many facets that we had of the late Queen. On the one hand, we start with this enormous state funeral at Westminster Abbey with so many people from around the world, dignitaries, world leaders, all coming together because, of course, she was not only our Queen, she was also head of the Commonwealth and so well respected around the world. Then we have a slightly smaller service taking place at St George's Chapel. Again, that's being televised, and people will be packed out in here in Windsor. And then there will be this very private burial service that will be taking place in the evening, because while she was our Queen, she was, of course, a grandmother and a mother, and to have that moment in which she will finally be buried alongside her late husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, in the same area within this private chapel, within next to her sister and her mother. And it's very fitting, really, that I think she comes home to Windsor Castle in many ways, because Windsor Castle, of course, has been such an important location for the royal family over the years. We've had 40 monarchs living there, but for the Queen particularly, she was evacuated to Windsor Castle during the war, and then during the sort of COVID pandemic she then very much sort of retired from Buckingham Palace and was residing here at Windsor Castle. I remember doing actually a tour of Windsor Castle about a year ago, and I remember the staff saying to me that Buckingham Palace was very much her working home, but Windsor Castle is her private home. So I think it's very fitting that she will finally be laid to rest here in her private home amongst her family.